Hello and welcome, Rahul. You're watching me on my YouTube channel, my talk show. And if you're watching me consistently, welcome back to my channel. Usually, I throw light on certain topics which can illuminate your path, because wisdom and knowledge is something that can transform your life altogether in this information age. And today I'm going to discuss such a phenomenal thing. If you will understand it totally, it is going to add such a valuable information in your knowledge base that you'll be transformed. I'm guaranteeing you, because I'm going to talk about cutting edge science and technology, what is happening in this field, and I will draw an analogy in the end between the functions of universe and that very system. If you'll understand it, you'll understand exactly that I'm talking something profound. So in these recent discoveries, we know that we live in information age, and classical computers have helped us in lots, and profound ways that we cannot explain today. It has changed our living altogether. And now we are moving towards quantum computers. You know, quantum computers are changing the reality altogether. Even it has been invented by most of the valuable companies, and they operate for certain results of complex problems. So what is actually quantum computing? If you will talk about classical computers, it stores information in bits, 0 or 1, binary bits, 0 or 1. You know. In terms of electrical charge in transistor, we used to store information in it for 1, and when it goes off, it has 0. But we use qubits in quantum computers. Qubits. It can have value between 0 and 1. Yeah, at the end of the time, when we'll observe the result, it will certainly come with 0 and 1, either 0 or either 1. But in between, it's a state that is called superimposition. It can have value between 0 to 1. As just think, I'm giving you an analogy. When you will toss a coin will be rotating. When it will finally come, it will have a 0 or 1. But when it will be spinning, it can have a value between 0 and 1. It can have a value, because electron that we use as a qubit, it has a charge, and charge in rotation can have its own phase. Did you understand? Like a spinning coin. So it can have value between 0 and 1, anything. And in the end of the day, we use coherence to amplify, to see the results, because in superimposition it will have certain value. But when we will observe that, with the help of interference, coherence, when we will observe that, it will give a definite value. So just understand exactly. Quantum computers, when we talk about that, it has peripherals. Peripherals with its own little devices. Today, we observe phenomena on classical computers. We have created interface with the quantum processing unit, and quantum processing unit has its own control system, cryogenics, because it has to be stored as absolute 0, because it cannot, the qubit state, which stores information between 0 and 1, is very, very influential. When the temperature will go up, it might have interference, and that is why it will collapse in its imposition state. It may collapse, and that is why we need to store it at 0 absolute temperature, so that there will not be any interference, so its state cannot collapse. So when we are talking about quantum processing units, all the algorithms that we run, we feed through classical computers. But in the processor, we have created an interface. We give instructions, and processor of quantum processing unit has its own components that runs that very algorithm. Did you understand what happens with qubits? Control processing unit, control electronics, gives its instruction with either microwave or laser, focus laser, to the qubits, to manipulate qubits, to perform functions through gates, through quantum gates. We still use control units, but all this quantum state of qubits for information processing has to be stored as very, very low temperature, so that There should not be any interference, to get the right knowledge. And what is the advantage of superimposition? That is what it gives the value. Entanglement and superimposition, these are the two benefits of quantum computer that changes the reality altogether. Such a system which can hold information between 0 and 1, it can store much more information and it can run parallelly. Did you understand? If it has a information, infinite information between 0 and 1, it has a phase altogether. Just think of of a sphere. Did you understand? But it will give different value as 0 and 1. Once we will get that result and once we'll interpret it, with the coherence algorithms on our classical computer, then we get result, But the processing time, because of the superimpositions and qubits, two qubits can hold four information, 0 and 1. And if it can process parallelly, it can have multitude of information stored on it. Factoring can work on these algorithms. Did you understand? So what happens if you have 10 to the power 23? It is called septillion data, septillion. And if we factor 10 into 2 to the power 3 point something will be 10, So 2 to the power 70 or 71 will be a septillion data. And Google has created 105 qubits processor of computer. It's quantum computer. So can you think how much information can it process? If you have 2 to the power 71, it will be septillion data. And if you have 300 qubits, it can store information more than the atoms that exist in our universe. That much information with 300 qubits. That is the power of quantum computer. It can run parallelly because of the superimposition, Even in entanglement, what happens when the two qubits are entangled? Once it will be processed for information with the logical gates of whatever result it gives, instantly the other one which is entangled will have a different value. If it has 0, it will have 1. So we can tell without processing of the second one that this has been the data, and once we combine with algorithm to deduce what is happening, we can get information very quickly, faster than the speed of light. Without processing, we can get the information of second qubit if it is entangled, and we can process information altogether. The computer can process that. Such a faster information. So entanglement is also giving it speed, and superimposition is giving it very much profound excellencies to compute data. That is what is the excellence of the computer. Now we have understood quantum computers. Now people see that because it resonates with the function of the real universe, because quantum mechanics applies to our universe. Our universe building blocks are electrons, protons and atoms. Atoms are the building blocks. If you go through periodic table, we have that elements, and these element forms our observable universe. Did you understand exactly? So what happens at quantum level when you induce any activity? It can have interaction in multi-universe as well. Such a powerful phenomena for such a powerful system. Because in multi-universe, what happens? That electron can coexist at the same time in two different places, or we cannot see that what is the position and momentum of the same electron at the same time because of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. That. So at that very minute level, if we are interfering, if we are computing data, it might connect with other universe because it is running parallelly. So it might happen that something else will happen in different universe, or it may compute data from other universe. It is doing that. That is what scientists are affirming. Now I am telling you, since universe has a connectivity, All these quantum atoms and electrons are part of universe, and universe connects with a space-time fabric. A space-time fabric. All the atoms, all the atoms are connected with a space-time fabric. How we know that? If it does not have any medium, in itself has a medium, because gravitational wave we have detected it at LIGO, that gravitational wave warps the space-time fabric. Einstein told that all the heavier objects in a gravity it creates gravity. When you place heavier objects, it denses, it folds the space-time fabric itself. Just suppose there is a bed sheet. On it you place 2 3 spheres, big and small spheres. It will turn the fabric of that bed sheet, and that is what it creates, the gravitational field between the space-time. So space-time continuum is connected somewhere. And in LIGO, laser interferometer, gravitational wave observatory, LIGO, this has been created, a system has been installed on two places on this earth. We have scientists have created, and recently two black holes merged. What happened? To find that either it reflects or anything happens in universe because of the gravitational wave, they have situated this LIGO, and LIGO has a 4 kilometer L-shaped interferometer, observatory, where they have 4 kilometer two lines, interferometer, where they have connected two lasers, suppose lasers, and they have placed mirrors back and forth. They have created lasers, 4 kilometer long laser lights, and they have synchronized it. So any warp in a space time instantly warps. Any interference happens, the time taken by the laser to go back and forth, the synchronicity will be interference that will be observed if anything happens in a space time. And that is what has been observed in 2016, and that confirmed that it is the truth, that when two black holes merge, it creates a gravitational wave that connects with the fabric of a space-time, that warps our existence, that warp our planet event, that warps our body event, and everything connected in between. That is what happened in LIGO, and that is what has been testified. So if it is connected, every atom is connected through certain fabric, and the building blocks of this universe is atom and electrons and all the charged particles, or whatever you say. These are the building blocks of the universe. Then I think that universe also holds the potential to compute and process each and every information. What happens in quantum computers? Quantum sensors can detect, because of the superimposition of qubits, a little changes in superimposition, they can detect the magnetic field difference. They can sense that how much magnetic field difference has been created in the system. They can simulate everything. This has been observed. So if a magnetic field difference can be detected in quantum sensors because of the quantum computing, then I think that universe has every key. Because what happens? Electromagnetism holds the key to everything. Suppose an artificial intelligence system, we have written all the codes, we have created artificial intelligence bots, bots, or whatever you say, artificial intelligence programs, we have created instructions, everything. When the electric force, when it goes through the circuits, through the computer, it forces and creates and gives energy to that very system, to that very instruction which is running that artificial program, and it operates on every data and it fits information. So it is giving life to an artificial system. It is giving life. So electromagnetic wave, don't underestimate it. Faraday's law, if electromagnetic induction happens, it can create induced electricity in a coil. And electricity gives energy to all these systems, even quantum systems. When there is a power system, then only you're performing all these tasks. So what happens? With the help of Faraday law, we can see that if an electromagnetic induction happens, it can create electricity field. Did you understand? So everything connects with energy. I'm telling you that energy and electricity is the key behind driving this force. Even our bodies, everything. Our brains communicates. Our brains communicates because of the electrical impulses between neurons. Between neurons. And if right electromagnetic frequency, it can simulate even electric field as well. That is what is happening in through induction. But we have electrolytes, chemical things happens, chemical process happens, and what facilitates that electricity? Electrolytes in chemicals, like we have sodium ions, chloride ions, phosphate ions, magnesium ions, and potassium ions. That is what constitutes electrodes in our brain, and that is what is responsible for neurotransmitter for creating that electricity. That is what electrochemical potential is created by these electrolytes. Between these 2 points of neuron membrane, these electrolytes create potential difference. What happens in electricity? How electricity conducts? Because of the potential difference voltage, electromotive force that creates electric field, and when electrons circulate, electrons runs from lower state to higher, and electricity runs from higher state to lower state, higher potential to lower potential. And electrons are negatively charged, and that's why they are attracted towards positive difference, positive potential, and that is why the circuit gets complete. That is what is the electricity, as we know. So these electrodes, are creating, especially the sodium, Na plus, is creating that electrochemical difference between 2 points, two nodes, and that is why electricity is flowing in our brain, the information processing. So electricity can be influenced by electromagnetic waves. Suppose some information would have been downloaded in our mind. Certain electric forces can create information exchange between 2 points. Suppose it may happen if that the same frequency goes through our brain, it creates electrical impulses that can transform data or can create an exchange between 2 points. That is what is the building blocks, that is what I'm talking about. How electricity generates, do you know electricity about generators? When electromagnetic induction happens, we flow hydroelectricity, we flow water to turn the turbine. And turbine, what happens? The turbine rotates the shaft, electromagnetic shaft, and that produces current between coils. That is the conductive material, and that coils in outer circuit provides electricity. That is what happens. So I'm giving you that the real force that is creating all these animated particles, you can see that the life, energy, electromotive force, that the energy that we are getting, that is what is driving us. And I'm telling you, in quantum computers, instructions, for those AI things, whatever algorithms we have stored in ROM memory, actually, these are the static, or RAM memory, which is volatile. What happens? Because of the electricity, we are able to create a circuit, and that is where the information flows. We are able to manipulate it. our identity, I'm telling you exactly the truth. Our identity is built because of our memory, and our memory stores in our brains, in certain electrical impulses. When we see that, when we access information, memories, because of the electricity, and random read only memories that we store information, qubits, is actually they are in a quantum state already simulated, quantum state. That is what is the memory, that is what is the information. And in volatile memory, QRAM, what is it is operating at, when this power is off, then it is good switch off. When we sleep, our brain stops certain chemical processes, other chemical process might happen. But when we awake, our subconscious and our conscious mind all together runs, So I'm telling you what happened in my ability when cosmos, stores everything. I think that because of the building blocks and all these quantum processes, I think that I draw an analogy. It can be anything. I'm just giving you a philosophy that our universe is a giant computer. It has every memory and everything. Now you can see that if we die, we decompose because we are biological. How our information, how people see that our cosmic memory is stored because of the interaction of its magnetic field. Earth has a magnetic field also, maybe all this gravitational field, the space time fabric itself has certain phenomena which is accessing our memory in the real time, which is storing everything. And that is where we in next incarnation may be able to download these informations. That is what they claim. So all these quantum, some things that I have told you, these are the realities that has been validated by science. Some things, analogy that I have drawn, these are the imaginations that correlate, that may not correlate, but I'm drawing an analogy. That is what I'm giving you, an information, and I'm telling you that if you will have this information, it can transform your life altogether. Today you knew that how quantum operations happens, how I'm telling you that quantum computers are really amazing. It can give you a deep insight, and once we know that we are integrating, actually creating an interface between classical computer and quantum computer. We are operating data, we are feeding data through classical computers, but processing is happening between quantum computer unit. That is why it is fast, that is why it is giving its result. And for processing that, you know real results of quantum qubits, we are again applying the algorithms to classical computers, and then we are receiving the unique information. But the phenomena that is happening in quantum computing, it is resembling with the real computing of our universe, with the real building block of our universe, and that is why it is totally transforming. Thank you for listening to me.